Today I'm going to show you how to install a motor on a bicycle. I'm going to use one of these Chinese models. Use one of these motors here. Pretty straightforward. You get your carb port, your exhaust port. First thing we want to do, I'm using a 29-inch Genesis bike, aluminum. Doesn't matter really, aluminum or steel, just makes it lighter. First thing you want to do is fit your motor onto this bike here. See how it's going to sit. Now I've installed this extra plate they give you. I got to tighten those bolts up. But where this frame is thicker than this, they give you this, which has another loop that goes around. Hold it tight, just so you don't have to alter the bike at all. But yep, that's going to be the first step, is making sure everything sits good. You're going to want to run that there. But first we are going to install the sprocket onto the rear for the train drive before we even do the motor. Guess it really doesn't matter which direction, but it's the way I like to do it. And yep, we'll go from there. Okay, so I got the tire off, rear tire. And I pulled all the mechanisms off of there. You can see that. And we're going to place this over the other sprocket there. It seems to line up nicely. Sometimes you might have to file down this edge a little bit, make it fit on there, but it's actually a nice snug fit. There's your bag of goodies. This here is going to be your rubber drums. For that, you're going to need these, and there, and bear with me 1 second. And you will also need these screws, washers, nuts for installing the sprocket. Wash nuts, lockers, you got all these. But there's 9 holes, 9 screws, 9 holes. One of these you got to cut to fit on the inside of the spokes. You get it wrapped around under there. One goes on the back side and one on the front side. Alright, so now I got my sprocket attached. It's on there really nice and tight. I snugged them all in a cross pattern, like you would with lug nuts. Make sure everything's nice and tight and even. And you want this to be a nice even profile around the edge here. Now, that's all set. The tire is good to go. We're going to mount that back on the bike. And then we can start working on the engine. Alright, got the tire back on. As you see, got my sprocket there. Everything's all good. I took it for a little roll around. Everything seems to be moving nicely. So, now I guess we can start attaching the motor, the gas tank, and all your clutch cables and all that stuff that's going to go on there. And we'll put the chain on, and we'll go from there. Alright, so I went ahead and put the motor on there. We got 2 bolts back here, 1 and 2, that hold it to the downward shaft. And we got this contraption over here that goes around this one. I told you earlier I had to change that out because if the original one doesn't fit on there, that comes with the kit. So now that we have the motor hooked up, we can put the gas tank on, clutch bars, and start connecting all the wires. Alright, so now I got my throttle hooked up. I have my clutch. Got to put the cable on, connect that to the engine. Got the engine, put my carburetor on, hooked up my throttle cable to the carburetor, and that's where the other end of the throttle is going to go. You squeeze that, pulls that in, and I got my chain hooked up. Still got to put the tensioner on, make sure that's snug, you don't want any slack in there. But we're making progress, and we're almost there. Alright, so now I got my chain tensioner on there. It's attached to this bottom post here. Right there. And then you got your up and down. You pull it up tight. Get it snug but not super tight where it's going to put friction on it, you know what I mean? So you want a little bit of slack, but you don't want the chain to be able to really jump around in there. That should be good. I might have to adjust it a little bit, but I'll take it for a test drive before I do all that. I attach my clutch cable. You can see that it's kind of small. There's a little nut right there that stops the wire. You get your spring. You got to put a spring on there, and then there's another spring that goes alongside the engine just to keep the clutch cable from touching the engine. And you come up, you hook your clutch up just like a brake line. They have a stopper on them so you can keep your clutch engaged pretty much like neutral. And now I'm going to wire up my kill switch, and then I have to button all of these wires up here, you know, tighten them up, put some tape or tie them up there, and then it's pretty much good to go. Give it a test drive and a couple of adjustments here and there as needed. But there you have it. Put a motor on a bike. Pretty easy.